One thing you don't want to do, that society tends to do, is put labels on food as being either good or bad. Food is just energy for your body. What is different between the different kinds of food is how it reacts in your body and how much your body can actually use what that food is made out of. But food is amoral. It is not either good or bad. The motives behind maybe making food a certain way might be not very good if companies take the easiest route to make something, even though it's not the healthiest, just so that they can make more money. An example of that would be with white bread or with a lot of products with white flour. In nature, when wheat is gathered into hay bales, the reason why you see hay bales just sitting out in the fields in the country is because before wheat can be turned into something that is edible, it needs to be left in the sun. The reason is because the sun activates enzymes in the wheat and it activates all the nutrients, and that's what makes it so good for you. But companies, they skip the leaving out in the sun part, and they just take the wheat and go ahead and process it, and that's why it's not dark like wheat is supposed to be. Like grains are supposed to be very dark. Rye is dark and barley is dark. Oats can be dark. They have a dark kind of hue to them, but sometimes they are light. But raw oats are so good for you, even though they may not be that dark. But most of the time, grains are really dark. And so companies can sometimes take shortcuts or just put in a bunch of sugar to make it taste good, to get their customers addicted to it, all kinds of things. Those motives might not be right, but even if a food is made pretty badly with a lot of sugar and stuff, it's not an evil food. The food itself is not evil. What it does in your body is not best for your body because your body can only process so much sugar a day. But the food itself, don't consider food to be bad or good. So chocolate cake, chocolate fudge is not bad. Don't feel guilty for eating it. What you want to be aware of is that your body is not going to be able to process a lot of it, so you don't want to have a whole cake of it, for example. As a treat, you might just want to have a slice or two. Junk food has very positive qualities. It makes you feel like you're taking a break from eating healthy. It excites your taste buds with the richness. It can be served as a celebration or something to give you a reward for a good job or just for celebrating who you are, like we give birthday cakes. So junk food or sugary foods are not bad. They have a lot of good qualities. They have a lot of celebratory qualities, and that's how you should use it, to celebrate or to just give yourself a treat. There was some kind of study done or something done where they asked French people what word they thought of when they heard the word chocolate cake, and then they asked the same question to Americans. What word do you think of when you hear the word chocolate cake? And the French said the word celebration, and Americans said the word guilt. And French people are not overweight. They don't struggle with the issue of being overweight over there. And I think a lot of it has to do with their mindset. You don't want to see food as good or bad, but you do want to just understand how it works in your body and whether your body can use a lot of that food or not. And if it can't, just have a little bit of it as a treat for the flavor and not as a whole meal. So food is not good or bad, but the reactions in the body can be positive or negative. And the reactions that are negative tend to be the same for all people across the board, unless you have a very unique negative reaction, like you're allergic to a certain ingredient or something like that. But for example, sugar tends to have the same negative reaction all across the board, especially because it's so easy to overeat sugar. It's so easy to eat more than just 1 teaspoon of artificial sugar in today's day and age, and that's all that the liver can process, just 1 teaspoon. Most days, people probably eat more than 1 teaspoon of sugar, and the reaction in the body is the same across the board. And the reason why it's the same is because human beings have the same systems. We have the same kind of spleen, we have the same intestines, and it's why doctors can perform surgery on patient after patient after patient and do the same kind of surgery, because our brains all look the same, they all function the same, the different parts are the same. The bones are the same. We have the same parts, even though we come in different shapes and sizes. And so certain ingredients act the same in all people just because our systems and our functions are the same. So when you eat more than 1 teaspoon of sugar, that is harmful to the body for all people. Sugar actually shuts down the immune system for up to 5 hours. That's why after you eat a lot of sugar, or let's say when you were a kid, if you remember eating a bunch of candy at Halloween, you feel sick afterward. It's because you literally are sick. Your immune system has shut down for up to 5 hours, and you are vulnerable to all kinds of things, and you kind of just feel sick because you're not as healthy during that time that your immune system has been shut down a little bit. So sugar really does awful things to your body that does not promote health, but sugar in itself is not evil. It's just the amount you eat can have negative effects. But going back to labels, so society puts these labels on food as good or bad, but that makes you feel like you're against food, like it's you against food. But food is not good or bad. So you are the master over food. You're not against it. You're not in this fight over it. You're actually the master of it because food is an inanimate object. Of course, you're the master over it. Of course, you have control over it. Now, if you feel like you are losing control over something, like for example, sometimes I lose control over certain kind of candies and I just can't stop eating them, what I'll do is I'll just throw the whole bag away, even if I've only eaten a few. If I realize that, oh my goodness, I'm going to finish off this whole bag and I don't want to and I can't control myself, I'll throw the whole bag away. And I don't feel guilty about it. I can always buy another bag when I feel like I have more control. And I'm going to discuss why throwing away food is okay and why you don't need to feel guilty about it, especially if you don't feel like you have control over it. Because the truth is, food is only an inanimate object. We have complete control, and we should never be in a position where we feel like we can't stop eating if we don't want to. So in that case, I'll just throw the thing away, and it really empowers you to remember that you're bigger than the food. You can throw it away. It has no control over you.